Hey guys, we've been watching a lot of streaming content lately. This is our mid-season review for X-Men 97. And we are also watching Shogun, trying to catch up on that series. But after watching X-Men 97 and these next few episodes, I am like so happy right now. This series is really, really good. I am in sore need of an X-Men shirt. Realize I don't own a single X-Men shirt. I want a classic X-Men. And we listen to the that intro song every episode because it's so damn good. It deserves to be listened to each episode. It's one of the only intros that I will not skip. So our last review, we were very positive on it. Gave previous episode 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10 on the first one. A great start to a return of a series. And we kind of teased at episode 3. I think at the time there was maybe embargo. We didn't want to spoil it for people. But basically that's the two Jeans, the Goblin Queen, the sexy as fuck, hot mama episode that actually went hard and fucking kicks ass against Magneto. Yep. So we do want to, quickly cover episode 3. Just my notes here is that the storytelling has gotten a lot more complex, multi-layered. The animation is great while still staying within that 90s style. And essentially turning the second Jean into, by the end of Madeline Pryor, and she goes off. So, quickly talking about that one. For me, that was another 9 out of 10 episode. What do you guys think of episode 3? We'll quickly cover that one before we get to the next.
It's excellent stuff. Anytime you've got the opportunity to do something in animation, you can do crazy things that you can't do in live action, and I think they nailed it here because they really got to be creative with the magical stuff, and I think it's great.
Yeah, I agree with that score as well. I'm probably going to go with the 9. I love the horror elements with Sinestro.
Oh, yes.
And the amazing new outfit that she had.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Magneto's amazing new outfit.
You already know how I felt about that one. I'm not a big fan.
Being transported back to teenage boys. I want to get a poster of her.
Wait a minute.
I'm an old-ass man now, and I wanted to play with my toys again. Though I play with toys every day.
It was a great story, though. I really enjoyed that one a lot.
With the tabletop stuff. Yeah, it was great. So, yeah, I mean, there is a new reason to watch some Marvel or Disney Plus content.
Marvel
X-Men, Marvel animation, and I got to hand it to them. They do a logo smash Marvel animation. And in the past, I've kind of rolled my eyes at Marvel animation, but man, they're killing it recently. At least this episode is the new Vanguard. Yeah, there's good Marvel animation shows, but it used to always be DC animation was where it's at. And now DC animation's kind of fading, and Marvel animation's coming up with stuff like this. So, really good start.
Right? What If?
Oh, yeah, the What If series is great, too. So let's jump into our opinions on up into the mid-season, which we're going to give you 4, 5, and 6 since we saw it already. And then we'll wrap up with a final video at the conclusion when we get the other 3. So for these 3 here, I'll let one of the boys start.
Go. For this one, it kind of fell for me. This one felt kind of rushed. I'm still not sold with Jubilee and Roberto's little love.
Are you going on episode 4, or are we doing kind of an amalgamation? I never know how to do these.
I thought you said 4.
Yeah, episode 4, 5, and 6.
Okay,
I wanted a summary before we jump into
individual.
Okay, that's my bad.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so it starts off really fucking bad, and then gets fucking amazing.
Yes.
But it starts really fucking bad,
ramps up.
and then it holy shit, and then stuff starts happening.
The best episodes of fucking animated TV I've seen, actually. Not just the best episode of X-Men, but the best episode of animation.
Like really cool fucking scenes that come to happen. There's interesting world building, love stories that make no goddamn sense that I could not if I had control of the remote, I would have fast forwarded through. But
except for the Gambit one, that one
was good. That one's being developed. That one's being developed though. The other ones are so rushed that I don't care. And the one that's developed, they're taking time with. I really appreciate. So it's been a pretty good mid-ish season.
Yeah, I think it has been a fucking stellar mid-season. You need to be watching this now.
Yeah.
Even the episode that the boys say is disappointing, that one I actually do like. Not episode is at the level of a banger. I think it's episode 5.
5's crazy.
It's a fucking banger.
Yes.
God damn. So, okay. Basically at the mid-season, we'll give you a general overview. We don't need to give you a score. I feel like that got us in trouble in fucking Fallout, and it's like, what does that mean?
You mad, bro?
We're like aggregating 4 episodes together. Let's just aggregate the entire season when the entire season's done and do individual episodes. So basically, that's our feeling at mid-season. Plus, you need to be watching this. Actually, on Twitter, people are starting to get into this. I'm seeing the memes. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but who's this rapper that, like, he's like dancing on the thing and the crowd goes crazy? Is it Travis Scott or somebody? I don't know who it is, but they use AI to replace whoever it is. And so I'm seeing a lot of that for like X-Men memes, like, hey, guess who's coming back? That kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
I forget what that meme is. But so a lot of people are getting into it, and it's good to see because this is a niche of a niche of a niche show. I mean, this is a 30-year-old cartoon, and the only people watching this are probably old farts like us.
Amazing people.
Amazing people. But
That's
I really
better.
do think a lot of old farts like us have children. So you park your children in front of this, and I bet you they would fucking enjoy it because, I mean, we enjoyed it when we were young, and it's even better. I think the story, now that they're encompassing, I think they're being aware that a lot of their audience is adults, and they need to, craft a little bit more complexity and in layers, and not have to worry about, is this for 7-year-olds or is this for 37-year-olds? So I think they're doing a good. And I always like this, and Alex always used to say this: is don't treat children like idiots. You know what I mean? It's like, obviously, if it's a 4-year-old, then yeah, there's going to be something different. But treating
Idiot babies.
children.
2 months old that don't know shit.
Joe, I know you're hatred for children, but you gotta calm it down.
Infantries.
Anyways,
For one thing.
so just complex storytelling that's really good and has emotional resonance. There are some bits that we feel aren't quite up at that level yet, and some rush. Now, I will say they are. I cannot believe the amount that's packed into these 30-minute episodes, 27-minute episodes, kind of following the same format of the Saturday morning cartoon. And sometimes they fucking nail it. Sometimes these short-ass episodes feel like an hour long, and we're getting everything. And then sometimes we're like, oh, you're pushing it a little too far. Especially in episode 4.
Yes.
Not only do they do one, and I was really enjoying the Jubilee Mojo stuff, but they try to cram in some fucking Rogue and Forge, and they end up rushing that and kind of fumbling the ball.
I think it messed up both.
I think that's what you were talking about before. So we really, really like it at mid-season. We think you should be watching it, and definitely go watch it.
To reiterate, we like it.
And if we don't like it as much as you,
we fucking love it. Anyways, so let's go into the individual episode breakdown. Now,
Okay.
Joe, rail into
4.
that.
I did not like this one
Episode
very
4.
much. Felt super rushed. I don't care about their love story between, again, Roberto and Jubilee, and then Storm and Forge, because it's too rushed. It was getting kind of entertaining with the Mojo stuff kind of going on, but again, it didn't give me enough time to really flesh out these characters, or maybe I could start liking them. But as soon as that episode started going with cool action scenes, we cut that off and then switch on over to the other love story that I don't really care about.
Storm and
Forge.
Forge.
Yes, I just felt odd, and again, it just felt like,
made
did
you
we
feel
miss
gross.
something? No.
oh, that chili looked gross.
Yeah,
Or the
that
leaves
is-
in there.
Pull the leaves out before you stuff.
What is that? I agree with you. I think that the Jubilee episode could have worked. Look, I don't like Jubilee. I've never liked Jubilee, so you weren't setting me up for something where it's like I'm gonna love this. The Mojo, callback thing is kind of neat. I just needed a couple more characters that I could have cared about, and then, like you said, as soon as the episode started getting interesting and cool stuff could have happened, it immediately ended and resolved. And I wanted to kind of relish in that. It's like, oh, you're gonna make me care about Jubilee. Her powers aren't a fucking joke anymore. before. All of this, and then it ended, and then immediately went to here, eat some chili. I've always loved you. And it's like, what? They've been together in the same scene for 30 seconds. It's like, what the fuck just happened?
Light speed character development.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, okay. And then that one eventually we do go back to, but episode 4 didn't do a whole lot for me.
No.
Okay, I like episode 4 a little more than you guys because I don't really have a hatred for Jubilee. In fact, Jubilee, in my opinion, is really earning her keep here, and she's coming to her own as a character. I actually don't mind her because they spent more time on it than they spent with Forge and Storm. This Roberto Jubilee thing. Oh, I need some water. And they... So I like the return of Mojo. His voice is so ridiculous, over the top. I hate it. I even hated his original voice way back in the day as a kid. I had his toy before I watched the cartoon back in like 1994.
You sound like this.
And I always used to make his voice way different. And his voice is, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just over the top TV game show host kind of thing with, a very weird slant, and I liked the episode. And it's Jubilee this time instead of the original X-Men being captured by Mojo. But if you look at the episode title, it kind of shows you the problem. The episode title is Motendo / Life Death Part 1. It's like, wait a minute. You're trying to cram 2 stories that actually need 2 episodes. I have never ever seen a 2-parter start with half an episode. It doesn't make sense. And that was the main problem.
Yeah, that's what brought it down for me.
So this the fact that there's a mysterious helper in the video game, I liked it. It turns out to be a beta version of Jubilee with greater powers, and at one point they combine powers, and it's like, oh, okay, she's not throwing fireworks anymore. She actually has
cool, right?
some powers.
And
that shit is cool.
Stop.
Mojo's over here. He's skinny. He's like, oh, you noticed I've been losing weight. He's got all the skin flab and stuff, but then when he gets pissed off, goes back to the Mojo that we know and love. He gets swollen. So I like all that stuff. I love hearing the classic lasers, the fucking G.I. Joe sounding lasers. So this is all classic. This was nostalgia. This was another wonderful episode getting me involved in it. And with a character I don't normally care about, like Alex, Jubilee, but as it was developing, I was like, okay. I said, you know what? That's well done. It got me. And then we turn and we do Storm and Forge. And it's going, and I'm going. I turned to Joe. I'm like, are we on episode 7?
Yes.
Or are we on episode 6? And it's like, no, this is still the same episode. I was like, okay. Well, in hindsight, you could have put even more into the Mojo battle. You could have put even more into the Jubilee Roberto development. Agreed. And while it was well executed, I know it could be even more well executed if we could get this Life Death Part 1 to be expanded in the whole episode. You could have pulled it off. But you rushed, like I said, you rushed the love story between Storm and Forge, so you don't feel the emotional resonance when they make the connection. I will say the dialogue is very smart. Forge is very charismatic. He's intelligent. I like the internal conflict that Storm is going through. Usually, Storm to me, not that interesting of a character, not one of my favorites. But I love that she's getting one. She is one of the more powerful one, Omega level eventually, and she gets some development here, and I like that. But I think that it deserves more.
Yes.
We're saying we like it, but because you were shortened it into, cramming it into the same episode with Motendo, it brings it down. So let's get a final verdict on Motendo / Life Death Part 1.
I was going to give this a 5, but just think about it, like, what we've seen in the last 2 episodes, like, you can, like, really flesh out these characters and make it look good. This one felt too fucking rushed. I don't believe this stuff, their love interest stuff, and I wanted to see more of the gaming aspect of that and just have a whole episode. I'm going to have to go for 4.
God damn, Joe. But thank you for bringing up the video game, because I forgot to mention that.
I liked that part. I was like, that was so cool.
Like,
I wanted to see more of that.
graphics, and it would look legit like an actual video game. In fact, it actually harkens back to the arcade X-Men that we love to play.
And it's like, you see that in the background. It's like, all right, level 1, level 2, level 3. It's like, wait, what? Can we go back to level 1? I want to see more of that.
Yeah.
And
okay,
like
so
just,
4 out of...
Yeah, and like I said before, The other episodes, they have the same amount of time, and they're fucking bangers. The next one.
This was because we're cramming too.
Yes.
What do you think, Alex?
I was thinking right about 4 or 5. I have no strong. I don't think anything in here is particularly good. I honestly don't think anything here is particularly awful. Jubilee has never done anything for me. I don't like the character and the powers. And then I think that the whole Forge thing, everything that you guys said, is just not. But I'm just going meh out of 10, 5. It's I would skip it.
It's forgettable.
Yeah.
I only give it slightly more. I'm gonna go with a 6 out of 10 because I look at it as a Motendo episode, and that holds it up for me. And then you kind of fucked it up, and you lost some points when you're trying to cram Life or Death Part 1 in there. And I like the concept of that as well, but because it wasn't developed, a little rushed, didn't like it. But I also give some shout outs to some nostalgic bits. The Matrix phone booth, picks up the phone, goes through the booth,
yes.
Got it. Jubilee's birthday, she wants to go to the arcade, and Magneto is kind of deciding what kind of birthday party, and it's funny to hear what Magneto said about an arcade through Jubilee's voice. He's like, I wouldn't be caught dead in an arcade kind of thing. I love the idea of Magneto in an arcade. It's like, oh my God, that's Magneto, and I'm playing Mortal Kombat and shit. Cool bit graphics, nostalgia overload. The cool arcade game and our video game graphics is well done. Spiral is kind of jammed into the episode. She doesn't do anything. He kind of yells at her a few times, and she's using her multiple arms. She's tech support for Spiral. Yeah. She gets her own little bit in little arc and confrontation with the X-Men in the original 1994 Season 2, Episode 11. But she doesn't really get anything here, but she's there. And then Roberto helps her out in the final battle with Mojo, and he gets a kiss at the end. So Jubilee, and that kind of culmination comes, and that was developed over 3 episodes. They're putting little bits there, little bits here, and then it comes here. So that felt a little bit more organic, and I can buy it. Not my favorite storyline, but a good subplot for development for Jubilee. And then we have, the Forge stuff. Forge and Storm. He makes her chilly. He's very romantic. And I can see how she falls for somebody. It's like, who's shown interest in Storm, and the first guy that does, boy, is he a smooth talker, knows how to cook, knows how to build things. He's helping her. She's obviously lost all her powers, which was her whole identity, and he's doing his best to try to help her. You even see a cool little picture of the, what was that team called? X-Force or X-Factor? With Strong Man. I had his action figure too back in the day. He's a part of the his old team essentially, and it's shown that the first attempt doesn't actually work. So
yeah, she's like, we've tried everything. It's over. We should just give up.
Yeah, it's like Storm.
He's like, it's only been like 2 days. You're still eating the same.
They're eating the same chili. They've been there for an hour and a half. It's like
he must have made a new bowl of chili, I guess. But that was her identity, and so she has this. She's deep despair. It is explained. There's an owl flying around, and it turns out that this owl is the adversary, and it attacks. But it's too rushed because Forge is like, I love you. It's like,
I thought you were gonna say too rushed for the owl. It's like, get out of here, owl! Oh. It bites him.
Shut up, Jonathan. We laughed the first time the owl. No, we laughed when the owl bit Forge's shoulder in a episode recap 2 hours later, because they removed the sound of the owl, but they left in the voice of get out of here, owl. Or no, there's no sound. No, guys, why keep doing this sound? Anyways, the adversary attacks, and it feasts on misery, and then it ends. And too much. Did I give my rating? I think I went into an overview
6
instead of giving it a rating. 6 out of 10 is what I did. If it didn't rush Forge and Storm, then it could have gotten more.
Yes, agreed.
Or break it out into 2 episodes.
Just do the whole Mojo one. would have been way higher for me.
I'm rushing through this for our audience. I always have YouTube in mind. It's like you shit on something and people get mad at it, and it's like, no, we have to give you our fucking opinions, whether they're good or bad on something. And now we get to the good stuff, because this is what I want to scream from the mountain tops on why you should see the fucking series. This is episode 5, and it is called Remember It. Whoo! This is a fucking animation at its best, storytelling at its best, crammed into the shorter format, these old school format, and starts off with a news interview with Beast, and we're kind of showing off the X-Men, and we're trying to to the masses show that mutants are
like
people
us.
too. Unfortunately, Alex immediately pointed out a little bit of a plot hole here, which, go ahead.
The Roberto, who the entire time, even in the video game, when he realized he's in a video game, it's like, no, don't put cameras on me. I've been telling my family I hate mutants, and then they show him like,
I don't want to show me using my powers because people see me as a
he's
mutant.
super rich and famous, and everyone knows who he is, and then he's on a news episode in the X Mansion,
And just eat
eating
popcorn with
It's like,
Jubilee. It's like, okay, if he doesn't care anymore, then you need to show us this, because otherwise it's like he would probably be like, there's a news crew here? No,
Maybe they
I'm
cut
running
that
the-
in the last episode because they rushed it at the
yeah,
end.
they
Perhaps.
You know what? I like mutants. I'm
he's-
going to stick around.
But he's shown at the mutant mansion, so connect the dots.
Yeah.
His family's gonna be pissed, and if they never mention that again, they're oops, sorry, because he wouldn't even use his powers when he's about to die and he's in danger because it might be filmed. And then the next episode, he's like,
I'm on TV.
Anyways, we're just poking fun. But it does show Genosha, and I love it. It feels good to see these mutants just like partying, having a good time, no worries in the world, no prejudice, no humans attacking them, and they have they're living free. And there's signs like Magneto's right and all this good stuff. And now our new second Jean, Madeline, she's on the council, and Nightcrawler shows up and gives kind of a tour of Genosha, and this is good build-up because you get growing attached, and you're like, oh, man, this is payoff after seasons and seasons of the X-Men back in 1990, whatever, to see this storyline to come to fruition, and all the good work that Xavier put in, and Magneto, and all that resolution, and we have a safe haven here. But there's some good stuff here. Good character development. Nightcrawler notices Gambit, and kind of looking at Rogue and having some internal conflict as Rogue and Magneto are talking. He's starting to realize there's something here, and he's like, "Look, man, just marry her and be done with it." And Gambit, I don't know. Gambit's too cool to marry? No, turns out what, Joe?
It's her.
Yeah,
Followers of women.
she was like wanting their relationship to be on the down low or something, or she was kind of like friend zoning him.
I mean, they don't have that much of a relationship
Yeah.
if the dumbasses don't know about condoms and inhibitor necklaces. That the whole power thing doesn't make any sense. But anyways,
And she
Stupid
can't
kids.
touch him.
I can't touch you except for all these ways that I could absolutely touch you.
Yeah, and the new interviewer brings up Scott and Jean when Cyclops is being interviewed, which leads into a scene of the couple's tension. So this new Jean, who's a clone, we don't know when she did this and fell in love and had the baby, and Scott and all this stuff, and Wolverine shows up because he's always the shoulder to cry on for Jean, and he loves Jean, and so she kind of goes through that in her mind as she's trying to search, like, does she love Scott, and she's got these feelings for Wolverine too, and all this other stuff, and she just like kisses Wolverine. You're like, oh shit, so fucking. And Wolverine actually pulls away, and Wolverine is a fucking bro, man, because he's like, no, you need. You just had a lapse in judgment, and you're feeling your feelings, and you need to talk to Scott because
Her brains are scrambled to be taking advantage of her.
right, these things are not resolved. Go talk to Scott. And so meanwhile we see Scott, he fucking goes off on the interview. Out of character for Cyclops, but it's because he's feeling the fact that he had to fucking give his son up,
Stupid humans.
fucking just god damn it. And I don't know whether they actually aired it because the interviewer was shocked, where he's like, "You fucking, I have to do this and that," and it's like good to see, man. I like this fucking character development because the previous cartoon, Jean was an idiot and like, this heroine that you had to save, or they put her in a victim and she'd always trip over shit and do stupid shit like that. Same thing with Scott. It was just the annoying fucking Boy Scout, and I'm glad to see, that they're acting more human when acting more mutant, which acts very human-like, and that's the whole point. And it gets across very well. So that was already good. Now we get some more intrigue with Genosha. They want Magneto to rule, and he has a condition. What's his condition, Alex? And take over from here.
Yeah, that he wants Rogue to be his queen, because he had been grooming her while she was a child, and it's a totally normal thing for this.
Yeah, they kind of comb over that part.
Yeah.
You have to think a little further for that.
He was a young buck.
You can also see it as it was just a romantic. What do you call it?
Student-teacher relationship?
It was just an affair.
Oh.
Yeah, they had an affair. He was teaching her, and so he's like, I want you to rule with me. And she can actually touch him, and they were, it shows the flashback where
she's doing all this and like telling Gambit. Gambit just taking it all in.
Yeah,
that's a little later, but you're right. She does.
Well, no, you're saying he has the flashbacks and he's telling her and all this stuff.
Yeah, so within the flashback, she's telling Gambit, he's like, hey, he wants me, and he's like, where did this relationship come from? He's like, actually, when my mom sent me to learn under his tutelage, and then he taught me things, and he painted me like one of his French girls, and then
Gambit has to sit here.
And he's sitting there listening to all this stuff, and he's throwing cards into the fire, and he's like,
Yeah, there's a queen, too.
Queen of Hearts.
I feel it. I feel Gambit,
he got done dirty.
Yes, he
Joe's
did.
favorite character. I'm seeing Joe here going, holding it in. And there's some
take this Gambit, get out of here.
There's some actual thick drama here in this cartoon.
Soap
and not
opera.
just here, but then it cuts back to Jean and Scott, and it turns out Jean walks in on a fucking
phone call of
commune.
Yeah.
He's communing with the other Jean and says, "Oh, what the fuck is going on here?" Because it confused me at first because they're in the mind area, and he's like, "Oh, it's not what it looked like." And he runs to
This is my baby mama.
What am I supposed to do?
That's his baby mama. I'm telling you, this is like a soap opera.
Oh shit! Are they setting up an entry point for Wolverine to get his Gene?
Now there's two
redheads.
But to be fair,
Scott
she
can
just
have-
cheated on him by making out with Wolverine.
Yeah, and that never comes up. I thought that maybe he would accuse her of looking at Wolverine, and then it would be revealed. But no, she's keeping that secret. So a lot of juicy drama here. She's moral. She's grandstanding and moralizing, and meanwhile she just kissed fucking Wolverine. So this is great shit.
Yes.
You just want you're glued to the screen. Anyways, we go back to basically the UN lady doesn't trust Magneto. Great fucking line here.
Great response.
How does it go, Alex?
We can't have a terrorist be a world leader.
Yeah.
And then he's like, why you allow your world leaders to be terrorists?
Boom,
and then
right back in.
and
He hits back. Magneto is so fucking
So
clever. And so the council's like, we want Magneto. He's got a pretty face. He's, even blah, blah, blah.
even though his
He
outfit
can-
is terrible,
he can
we'll
run.
allow him
No,
to be our
I
king.
love his outfit.
Oh,
Y'all are wrong.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Y'all are
not
fucking
growing
wrong.
on me. It's not. It's
You're
not.
wrong. Anyways, so that happens, and basically they have a gala, and there's dancing, and fucking Madeline Pryor's there, and Gambit is like, oh man,
It gets
poor
so
Gambit.
much worse for him.
Drinking. He's just trying to drink, and I don't know why the fuck Rogue does this. It makes me hate Rogue. So she flies into the fucking gala in a nice ass dress.
And he's like, it looks like he's gonna go over there and talk to her.
Yeah.
But he goes straight to
She
Magneto.
goes straight to
Bam,
Magneto in front of Gambit, and then does all this
They
stupid
start
bullshit.
dancing.
And they're dancing.
It's not just dancing; they're rubbing and touching and squeezing, and
I'm surprised it goes and it blows up. But he comes close to that. He gets. He's just Gambit has to keep his cool, and so you feel it.
But then to make matters even worse, after
Ace of Base is playing. It was
Well,
a good, cool song. It's like 90s. What'd you
Very
say,
nice.
Alex?
To make matters even worse, after they're practically fingering, fondling each other in midair, she goes, "I'm not into it. I'm not."
Yeah, she just says, it's like she wants to but can't, and she realizes because we forgot the whole thing where Rogue visits Gambit at night and kind of tells him about the stuff. You had mentioned it. And,
Yeah, we mentioned
it. So but it planted the seed there that it goes deeper, and their love kind of goes deeper, and she reiterates this line to Magneto. So even though she can't touch him and stuff, so it's yeah. I usually hate these love triangles, right? Where I love both of them, like fucking Starship Troopers and Dizzy and fucking Carmen and Johnny Rico.
Yeah.
If it's handled well, then it's good. If it's handled poorly, then it's just eye rolling. It's like, get past this shit. And as a kid, you don't care. But here it's working. And
For this one is working for me. The Scott and the Gene one is not currently working for me. I think that they're rushing through it.
Currently working for me.
Yeah. So it's like, but this other one in contrast for me, I think it's developed well enough, and it makes a lot of sense.
So then at the gala, we have all this stuff. This thing happens. She tells Magneto, nah, peace, and maybe we get Rogue can go to Gambit, and the man can finally heal after all this bitches done to him right in front of him. But an explosion happens, and actually we get a scene with Cable. Cable is like runs to his mom, and he's like, no, he's like not able to prevent it.
Yeah.
Turn off the music.
Get out of here. And he's like, Mom. And then he gets, and I thought, I was like, this voice is like, that would be cool if they got Josh Brolin to do the voice, because he's like Cable. But no, it's actually let's see. Chris Potter, who has done voices for X-Men in the past. He was Gambit in the past, actually. So he voices him. But he voices him great. It sounds like a Cable. So the Sentinels basically attack. And holy shit. This is when this episode ramps the fuck up. It was already good, but now we go into an action scene with actual stakes and motherfucking people dying all over the place. And, the rousing music, when that X-Men theme song, hits, and it's hitting with some different chords in like a fucking epic fashion, like this is the final battle kind of thing, I felt it. Like an animated show, I was feeling it. And hell, even the old school 90s animation goes hard here with these laser blasts from this motherfucking, I don't know, beetle-like snake master mold that has 3 heads, and he's firing these epic, uber powerful beams and just laying waste to Genosha, essentially. And Gambit's fighting, everybody's fighting, and some great scenes. And eventually, Magneto, though, sacrifices himself at this great side storyline with is that Toad or no?
Leech.
It's Leech. That's right. It's Leech, and that Magneto had previously said, "I'll protect you," and and it's just like this great thing, and then. And they're not sure about the X-Men, but then the X-Men Gambit shows up and saves them with the fucking head, and then and so then the underworld, I forget, Molochs or something like that are all. It's just this great story. And but anyways, he comes face to face with Magneto, and Leech is like clutching to him and looking, and Magneto's doing his best to protect them because the beam fucking hits Magneto and the crew, and Rogue wants to rush to save Magneto, but Magneto, while still holding the fucking thing, still manages to have enough power to wrap his love, Rogue, and Gambit around a pole to prevent them from interfering, and basically the beam completes, and you hear the Sentinel say Omega threat level destroyed or ended or whatever. And it is kind of, assumed that Magneto perishes along with
This is a great
Leech.
scene, too, because you see Leech right there. He's looking up at him, and Magneto's like, don't be afraid. And then,
and in his own language, is like, that hit me.
Yeah.
It's a fucking cartoon. It hit me. It's a fucking great, man. And then at that moment when that happened, Rogue goes off. She's like, what? Like, she has love for Magneto, even though she may not want to admit it. So she goes off, and Gambit's like, no, it's like trying to stop her. And
Gambit stops her because she's going straight for the big one.
He throws a motorcycle.
Throws a fucking motorcycle at his girlfriend. He knows she can handle it.
She can handle that one, not the fucking
Not
beam.
the other one, right?
Yeah.
And he says it's time for Gambit to raise the stakes. I'm like, Gambit, what the fuck are you doing, man? He's like, hey, there's nobody else around here. It's my turn. I have to do this. He pulls out his fucking pole and he's doing his flips, but shush! I was like, oh! I felt it in my gut at the same time Gambit felt it. I felt it.
It's a flesh wound.
I heard Joe go down. Don't worry.
It's fine.
There's a flesh wound. Don't worry. I was like,
He sits that back up.
I don't know, Joe.
But it gets
And
worse.
And that fucking sentinel brings him right in front of him and looks at him, and I'm like, shit, this shit is over. I was like, oh my God. And what happens next?
Oh, man, he's like, mutant's dead. It's like, no, my name is Gambit. You remember that name. And lights him all up.
Yeah, because anything, that he touches, he can fucking power up. But he knows, because it's connected to him, as he gonna blow up too. Gambit makes the ultimate. He's a man of his word.
It's okay.
He
He's fine.
did raise the stakes, and he smiles because it's like this is my plan. I knew I wasn't gonna just beat you up with my stick.
Yeah, playing cards weren't gonna do it.
He blows himself up and the whole fucking thing, and holy shit, energizes the entire Master Mold Sentinel and ends the attack. And it is just destruction everywhere. And actually, they show it on the TV, and the other X-Men at the mansion see it, and they're fucking horrified, and everybody's horrified. It's crazy.
Yeah, the news is like after the attacks, the U.S. or whatever, just like they're not allowing them to come back home. So it's like
some countries, not allowing. It's like fucking dicks, man. And Rogue is there holding Gambit's dead body, or she says that she can't feel him anymore, and it is sad. And the fucking, I'm not afraid to admit it. I was tearing up. And especially when you're playing that sad piano. And then at the end, they play sad piano X-Men intro music. I was like, oh, fuck. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
Yep.
That episode, man. If that episode don't make you feel shit, you never even cared about X-Men.
You must be
You
dead.
have no fucking soul.
You're dead.
You have no problems. You have no heart. You have no eye for action and character tension. That shit is a 10 out of 10.
Yes, I 100% agree. This was a fucking amazing episode. The storytelling was great. The dialogue was amazing. It was on point. The action, even though they did my boy dirty here, he still ended up being a fucking badass and a hero.
On top,
In the end, he definitely got it.
Yeah, even though like parts of the first half of this episode weren't doing anything for me, this is what we talk about. We're talking about like legendary episodes. This is an episode when I go back, I'm not going to forget this episode. This is an important episode. It is a truly legendary, and it is a 10 out of 10 because the end is just so incredible.
Yeah.
Whew, it's hard to follow up something like that. So we go into episode 6.
I do want to say that if they do the bullshit.
What bullshit?
Where they open up a portal and they find a new Gambit and they're like, oh, he's fine. I will be upset.
They're gonna do it.
They're gonna have to do something.
I mean, they will. I mean, he's one of the most popular characters, and it's not gonna. Or he's gonna be. You would prefer, because obviously he's gonna go do this, because we got the future storyline, we got time travel, we got all that stuff. So there's a potential Gambit could be gone for a bunch of episodes, and then if they do the future thing and the time travel and the cable and all that, maybe we can resolve
Cable's
it.
gonna come back and fix it.
Try, we'll
something.
see.
But it's still great.
But maybe have Gambit out for a few episodes. I don't really want him to be out for a few episodes, but it would support the story in a stronger way if he is sidelined. Because right now, actually, in fact, Wolverine's pretty sidelined. He's a fan favorite character and hasn't been getting much. So maybe he'll come to the forefront and we'll see Gambit show up later. But you can guarantee you Gambit's going to come back at some point, maybe season 2. Or we hope maybe season 2. Don't immediately undo it, is your point, with the next episode. Hey, mon ami, hey.
Yeah, that's...
The fuck?
Yeah, you give it to characters time to mourn. It's like you did something emotional that impacted the audience. Immediately undoing that means you've got no fucking spine. So it's like, make them gone for a while.
So, episode 6, Life, Death, Part 2. Basically, this has to do with the... what race is this? The Shinar. Let me see. I wrote it down here. Shi'ar. Empire. And so the Empress, and it's good because it's like, okay, well, what happened to Charles Xavier? We never seeing him again in the franchise. But no, it actually opens up really well with the space battle. Lasers, ships blowing up. Love it. I like this kind of stuff. The Empress's sister destroys the Kree. Basically, the war continues. It's fun seeing the Kree again in this form versus what we've seen in MCU and shit. But these are not the same universe, so they could do whatever they want. Ronan is punked. They punk his ass. Gladiator is there. He's so fucking corny. I had his action figure. He's basically the Superman kind of stand-in for, but he's very, very loyal to the Empire.
He's cool. He's got a mohawk.
Man, you shut the fuck up, Joe. He's not cool. He's corny. Anyways, interrupted by the Empress, who, in the middle of battle, she shows a lot of respect to her sister, or at least makes a show of it, that she's going to listen to this holotape that the Empress is announcing her marriage to
Professor X.
Professor X, and he's going to be the Emperor of the Imperium, and everybody's like, oh,
he's an outsider, but why?
He's an ape. Yeah, he's a simian and shit. And they're like thinking he's lesser blood and stuff. And anyways, but if you don't know the previous storylines, her brother went crazy and almost destroyed the universe, including Earth and all that stuff. So Xavier went to go help with that, and he's feeling a little sad. And he misses his
students.
So she says, "Well, invite your X-Men to the wedding." And I'm like, "All right, cool. So now we're good." And once we crush the Kree, and then we can do all this other cool stuff. And anyways, and he's lamenting it because he's like, well, maybe, there are no more lessons to teach the X-Men for the professor, is what she's saying to him. And he's not quite so sure. There might be some lessons that he has left. And then we go back to the Storm and Forge storyline. But here I like this a little more. We'll see what you guys think, because I like the demon aspect. Now the demon takes over. We go away from the rushed love thing, and we got more to the demon taunting her over Forge, who was revealed to be the creator, helped the mutant dampener and the powers that these racist humans use. And it's crazy because it's more drama and conflict. What else?
It was it wasn't him who created it. Somebody used
it was the Scottish guy.
Basis of the technology.
So he's like, it wasn't me, I swear. It's like, you manipulated me and all this stuff.
I thought I loved you. It's like, I met you yesterday.
Here's some more chili.
You have some more chili.
That's why you became a good cook, Alex, because that's the key to everybody's heart.
Absolutely, but I don't put weird leaves in my chili.
That man, maybe the leaves are the key to fucking Storm, because that's some good chili right there, I guess. Anyways, he wakes up. He's hurt. Joe laughed at the episode recap here because they didn't put any sound in it for some reason. It was really weird. But they did put his screaming. Ah, get out of here, demon. Oh. Go watch the episode recap of episode 6. It made me and Joe laugh. Anyways, he wakes up momentarily to use his mother's book to banish it. At first, I thought it was like Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they didn't use that connection. And honestly, I don't mind it. I don't mind this constant, Kevin Feige, MCU callbacks in every fucking episode. No, it's tied to his heritage, his mother, and, so he was using that book to banish it, and keeps calling her Aurora, that's Storm's name, and, has a personal connection. Jumping back to the Empress, it's funny they announce Charles as her consort. The Empress and her consort.
And her dude, the royal dude.
And he's like,
that's sweet title.
He's like, damn, they really doing me dirty. And she's like, and I love the dialogue here. He's like, you may bark later. Yeah, you know what I mean? So he can assert his power, and she's allowing him to assert his power, but it's like, let's smooth this over, and then you can fucking, admonish these people in the appropriate way. So it's just fascinating to see Charles in this environment, in this storyline. I never thought I'd get to see this back when we was a kid, and we were watching, and he goes off with the space race, and I'm like, what is this? They look goofy, and they're stupid Centauri.
They have the hair, and then, like, the helmet. helmet fits perfectly on
with
the
the hair,
hair.
Yeah, right? They build the helmets for their hair.
Is that the hair? Or
Yes,
is it
quite
just,
clearly.
I don't know. It's weird.
But it's working for me. I was fascinated by it. You have this character called Deathbird, which is the Empress's sister, and she's doing some plays for the throne. And basically, she's like, you know, they basically talking shit.
She wants to do the same thing her brother did, basically.
Right. She's kind of losing it, too. And she calls the Milky Way the ghetto.
Yeah.
It calls our home the ghetto. It's like, this motherfucker's trying to make this fucking Milky Way ghetto our new home world. The home world is Shindalar or whatever. And she invokes Ananasha or something.
Well, she can.
Chicago.
Yeah.
She invokes Chicago.
Yeah, and then she can make any challenge she wants. She's like, cut your own dick off. It's like, what?
Holy fuck.
It's actually worse than that. She's like, I want you to erase all of your fucking memories and
Yeah.
everyone you've ever known and loved, and everything is gone. It's like, what the fuck kind of weird trial is this?
Oh, she's just doing it
evil.
unwinnable. And make
Yeah.
matters worse, she says, and you have to do it. His love has to fucking erase his mind. So Charles is, considering it, and he's like, everything that you did for me, I think maybe it's my time to show my devotion to you. And clearly he's conflicted, but he wants to do it because of what she's done for him. So, but they do worry about her sister taking over because she's got designs and she did this on purpose and shit like that. And this is an episode that shows you a well done version of the two storylines, because now we go right back to Storm and Forge, and she has to get over her claustrophobia, and the demon is like fucking with her while she's in these tight spaces, and I thought it was better done. But to continue what I was saying with Charles, they're very they look down upon humans, and they're like, we're gonna mix our blood with their inferior fluids. And, she's going mad, but she eventually actually comes right out, and she brings her troops, and he's doing the ritual, and right when they say, renounce the X-Men, Charles is like, you hesitated, and then she takes his mom. Damn, bitch, she's fucking sedition right here, and she fights. And, of course, Gladiator beats the fuck out of all of her soldiers because he's super OP. And
he teleports them to a different plane.
The astral plane.
The astral plane.
I love that.
Takes them to a schoolroom. Look, what is this? It's like, well, it's time to teach you guys a lesson.
I loved it. It
was good. It was good. I like
forces them into a classroom. Great poetic payback for being looked down upon this whole time. Now I'm gonna teach y'all motherfuckers something. And so what else? Alex, take it over.
And then he just ultimately he's trying to teach them, and then the glow. He's showing that they're conquistadors pretty much. They go down there and they cut the civilizations out by the knee, and then they're like, oh, we'll help raise you up, but you got to assimilate. And it's like, well, the only reason they got to do any of those things is because you gutted their entire thing. So it's like, you people are dicks. We can kind of show you something. And once he's getting to the point, he's finally driving everything home. He sees the ghost of Gambit, and everyone's a skeleton, and he gets blasted. And
I think his immense powers, kind of tipping him off that something's going on with his X-Men.
Gambit's dead.
Maybe we might see who sent the signal. I don't know, but he makes a point that the Shi'ar Empire is basically a snake oil salesman, and honestly, surprisingly, the kids in the classroom, all the council members, don't necessarily. How dare you? And just completely dismiss him. They're kind of like, maybe we will. But they're on the verge. They haven't quite been, but that's the conflict. That if he leaves now, then the council's going to be like, fuck that guy. No, we were about to, and then but no.
See, he left us.
But he's like, no, I'm not going to abandon my X-Men when they're in danger. I mean, technically abandon them, but they weren't in danger. They were drinking wine and having fun, and he taught them all he could. But if they're in danger, it's time for Professor X to make his return. And that's why I saw the meme on there where he's dancing. He's returning. The crowd's going crazy because here comes Professor X back to his X-Men. So that's, I guess, what we're going to get in the next episode. Meanwhile, Storm basically... what is it?
Overcomes her fear of the owl, and then she presses through and escapes and starts getting her powers back.
Yeah, it turns out that it wasn't just the executioner's rifle. It was also the lie of her not. Maybe she basically, it's
Her
really
inner
well written. She has
demons,
internal
yeah.
conflict and internal demons, and part of it was her, and part of it was coming to terms with demons. And I love what Storm has to say here. These, I don't have it written down, but demons are reflections of our shame, and if you heal with our adversary and embrace it, and that's how you overcome it. And it works wonders for her because boom, her powers start returning to her. She banishes the demon with her lightning, and then she fucking flies off, and she actually poof goes into space. And it reminds me of Superman. And I was like, oh shit.
And now has the power to like make a suit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she transforms
That's her new
into
power.
sexy hot Storm because her previous white suit, now she's in the black suit, and it is fucking awesome, and she looks great, and it's fucking sweet. And then she's flying all around, making tornadoes and
Forge is
breaking
like,
shit.
what about me?
Yeah, she's like,
Help.
she's flying with the horses and making lightning and hurricanes and shit. And he's like, can you get that cactus, please? I'm dying. I'm dying in this fucking cave.
Kidding, but it's a
Kidding.
good
Hello?
scene, all right?
Yeah, well, at least he gets to
Forge
be
is
with
still there.
hot Omega level mommies.
Yeah.
He's all right.
Yeah,
He'll be
next
all right.
scene.
If he lives,
next
he'll be all right.
scene, he's in the bed. She's tending to his wounds, and
Yeah.
they disappear, and you get that nice line.
Yeah.
And then we tease to the Master Mold creator. I did your bidding. I did the Master Mold, and we did the attack Genosha and all this stuff. And turns out it is Mr. Sinister who's behind everything. And we get his tease to that's the villain. So, what did you think of this episode?
This one, I would probably give this one an 8. I liked going to space, seeing some new stuff. I wish we could kind of go back, but I get it. Let's get some time to breathe on Genosha and stuff like that. They did the Storm and Forge thing better. I do agree with that. I like that one. So 8 for me.
I'm gonna go with a 7. I liked the Storm stuff more than I liked the Chandelar stuff. This is two things that I do think they handled this one better than they did 4.
Yeah.
But I still needed more time in both because it felt like they were like speeding through some of these things, and I think that fleshing some of these concepts out I think would have done better. But I still like it.
Yeah, I think it's an 8 out of 10. With the time that they have in this particular format, they handled these two storylines well. So fascinating to see Professor X in a different element, kind of still being himself, Professor X. And I loved the transformation of Storm and coming to fruition with her demons. And okay, so that is the midway point, little extra midway point of
Just
the
for you
X-Men.
guys.
Go ahead and watch it if you're not already watching it. Some of you are watching it, and that's the right choice. So thank you guys so much. We are excited about these last 3 episodes. Good news is there's been an announcement, not 3, there's 4, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And in fact, holy shit, the last 3 episodes is just one. It's Tolerance is Extinction, so that's gonna be juicy. I want to make a point that they're trying to do movie storylines in 30 minutes. And it's like, I'm glad that they're aspiring to movie plot lines, but, that's the time constraint is kind of rough on some of that. So that gives me hope for the last 3 episodes that they get to flesh it out quite a bit. So every week these are out. We'll go ahead and give you our final ratings on May 15th when the final episode is released. That's when the series ends. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.